Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. You may not have heard of HP's Indigo division, but there's a chance you've seen the products we've helped to create, like the unique Coke bottles packages, and the personalized Kit Kats, and the Nutella. HP Indigo develops, manufactures, and markets digital printing solutions. Founded in Israel in 1977 and acquired by HP in 2001. HP Indigo is a market leader and one of the top 10 exporters in Israel, with customers in over 100 countries. My name is Tanya Gordon, and today I'm going to present HP Indigo's LPPD revolution. LPPD, Lean Product Process Development, is not just a buzzword or a quick fix, but rather a strategy, a new way of thinking and running a company which is beneficial to the line worker as to the CEO. The ultimate goal was to create the most value to the customer while minimizing resources, time, energy, and reducing waste. I will not burden you with tedious methodological terms. Instead, we're going to discuss several lean principles and present how we support these principles with Atlassian tools at HP. Then I'll show you some more additional apps and integrations we use. We'll discuss the migration process shortly and review our future plans. For those who are not yet familiar with the Atlassian ecosystem, I would say in a nutshell, Jira is the main task management tool, and Confluence is the knowledge sharing and collaboration platform by Atlassian. Before implementation, we first tried to learn from others' experience. We visited several large companies in Israel like Amdocs, Checkpoint, and Intel, and tried to gather as much information as possible regarding implementation possibilities of Jira and Confluence. Our main concerns were how to organize our projects in Jira and spaces in Confluence, what is the best approach regarding roles and permission management, and what are the customization limits. We decided to go with the server hosting option, both for Jira and Confluence. We knew that we needed full administrative permissions and lots of customization, so at the time, cloud was not really an option. Also, data center seemed a bit over the top because we knew that it would take some time to reach the maximum capacity of server hosting, and it wasn't cost-effective, both implementation effort and budget-wise, to choose data center from the beginning. Eventually, we decided that in order to be able to support an R&D of more than 1,000 users, we must set standards. We created a list of rules and guidelines that support lean methodology and are compatible with our R&D new ways of work. The methodological change came together with the tools, so users were learning as they go. First, we decided on a project per team structure, both for Jira and Confluence. We needed a way to create a cross-team project management. Just to have a feel of our R&D structure, here's a diagram. We have what we call organic teams, like infrastructure, services, QA, electrical engineering, and more. Each employee is a member of one organic team. In addition, we have a parallel structure of work teams. These are self-contained teams, like Scrum teams, that work toward a specific product or feature. A work team contains up to 10 members of different specialities, and together, they are able to deliver a full feature from start to finish. Each employee may be a member of more than one work team. So, back to project structure. A project per team wasn't enough to create a synchronized way of work. We are a multidisciplinary organization, meaning there are many active projects or active versions of digital processes that are developed simultaneously. This requires another level of synchronization, one that can only be achieved via a very well-planned and structured methodology, and of course, a supporting information system. So we have created another set of projects to manage the features of each digital press, and a set of scripts that help to sync the work that is required from each team for each feature. It looks like this. Each PM manages the features of the digital press series he's responsible for in a separate project. When the feature is ready for the R&D, the PM selects the work teams that should be involved in the feature's development, and the tasks are created automatically in the relevant projects. This ensures the PM's control over the feature and eliminates users' mistakes. Next are the allied cadences. This is an important LPPD principle. In order to be able to synchronize the teams and plan our activities ahead, we decided to use shared sprints. All teams use same shared sprints objects that are managed from a single generic board. This way, we ensure that everyone is aligned on the timeline. We also decided on a naming convention for the sprints and added dates to the sprint names in order to ease the scheduling task for the users. Another example of a standard we enforce at HP is a centralized version list. In order to be able to create meaningful reports, all users must use the same version objects. But in Jira, versions are managed per project. Misspelled or inaccurate versions can compromise data integrity. In order to achieve this ability, we use ScriptRunner, which is an app installed on top of Jira and helps us to automate processes using Groovy scripting. ScriptRunner built-in version synchronizer listener simply copies all changes that are made to the version list of one master project to all slave projects. Now, supporting a multidisciplinary R&D requires pretty controlling admins. But there are several administrative tasks that can be delegated. One is the users management. In Jira, in order to edit user groups, you must have administration permissions. Of course, we cannot allow to have many admins, but we also didn't want to be the bottlenecks in assigning users to the relevant work teams when they shift people around or when the work team finishes its work and is disassembled. So we decided to use project roles instead. We delegated the task of user management almost exclusively to the project leaders by allowing them to administer their projects and by teaching them how to allocate users to the relevant roles according to the permission scheme. The roles we use are project leaders to extend the out-of-the-box project lead role and to allow multiple project leaders. Project members simply contains all members of the work team. Project guests is used for temporary members that are not part of the work team, but for some reason have tasks assigned to them in the project. So the permissions are the same as project members, but the role is different. And last are the project watchers. This is used for cases when someone wants to be a watcher for the whole project. To ease the task of issue assignment, we needed to extend the default assignee mechanism. Out of the box, there's only one default assignee per project, and it can be set to the project lead or left unassigned. But that wasn't enough, because we didn't want the project lead to become a router for task assignment. So we added more roles and some more automation scripts that identify the context of the issue during creation and assign it to the default assignee that was defined by the project lead himself. As I said before, each user may be a member or a guest in several projects, so a centralized view was needed to allow users a one-stop shop experience. We created boards per project, but with a twist. We wanted the user to always use his or her organic team board, but also to be able to view and manage all tasks that are assigned to them from the different work teams they may be participating. For this, we used users enroll function that is provided by an external app called JQL Tricks. Here you can see that the board contains all issues of the organic project and also more issues from the work team projects, but only those that are assigned to users that are members or leaders in the organic team. This is the filter of the organic project called Software App 2. You can see that it contains all the issues from the project Software App 2, and in addition, all the issues that are assigned to anyone who is a project member or leader in Software App 2. Notice that project guests are not stated here. Guests should use their own organic team board, where they are set as members or leaders. One of the most important and simplest principles of Lean is visualization and transparency for the workers and the managers alike. No more hiding all project data in some Excel file that is saved only on the PM's laptop. At the beginning, we used physical boards with sticky notes. Well, what can I say? It works. But it's messy, and the notes fall down, and there's no way to track history or to do any reporting, and your neck hurts. We needed a better solution. Big Picture App Board module allowed us to create a consolidated view of 6 sprints ahead, exactly what we needed in order to plan a full quarter. Columns stand for sprints, and rows are for teams. But in our case, we use it for assignees to be able to manage capacity per assignee. This view allows everyone, the team members as well as the PMs, to see the full plan, spot the dependencies and the bottlenecks. And the best thing is, everything's saved in Jira, so there's full history for every issue and nothing gets lost. Reporting is an integrated part of project management. Managers rely on reports to display retrospective information on the one hand, and also to help predict teams' behavior in the future on the other. We mainly use EasyBI for reporting. It allows us to create customized reports that bring the most value to our customers. Another important principle of Lean is learning and continuous improvement. When we met with Atlassian users and asked them what they think about Confluence, the main opinion that stood out was that it spreads throughout the organization like a wildfire. The tool is super intuitive to use, and once you introduce it to the users, they immediately see the potential and start creating pages and spaces. This is a great quality on the one hand, but our main goal was to reduce waste and create a standard way of work for all teams and sections of the R&D. This meant we couldn't really just let it spread and hope for the best. So we have decided on a controlled implementation method instead. Basically, we introduce the tool team by team, gather the specific requirements, and understand the team's needs. And then together, we create the needed templates and the space structure that will best serve the team in their day-to-day activities and help them to create reusable knowledge. But how do you do it? How do you help your users to avoid writing the same thing over and over again? Think about it. The answer is pretty simple. Just help them search for it. Confluence has a great search engine, and we wanted to enhance it just a little bit more. We created several mechanisms that automatically label pages according to their context. For example, each page in a space gets the space name as a label. Each page that is created from a template gets the template name as a label. Those two are easy. We use script runner event handlers to label the pages during creation. Next, we enhance the out-of-the-box integration between Jira and Confluence. So when a specific Confluence page that stands for requirements document is linked to a Jira issue, it gets a label that represents the relevant subsystem. which is basically an agreed name of the digital press parts that is taken from one of the fields in Jira. This way, we create a single source of truth, and the pages are automatically labeled according to the context. Now, how do we use these labels? For that, we purchased Bricket Targeted Search for Confluence app that helps us to manage and utilize the labels in Confluence and helps the users to use them during search. First, we categorize our labels because there are too many of them, and it helps the users to focus the search. Another thing that was important is that this app allows us to use a friendly name for the labels. Here you can see that it allows us to set an alias that can contain uppercase and spaces. This is how the search page looks like. Notice the sidebar? You can see that users can easily check and uncheck the labels on the left panel, and the search results are displayed accordingly. This helps the users to find what they're looking for much easily and quickly, even if they don't know or don't remember the exact text that was in the document name or content. Now let's review some additional apps and integrations we use. Because each employee can be a member in several work teams with different capacity, we needed to find a way to easily manage this so both the user and the manager will be able to get a clear picture of the available work time of the team per sprint. This is why we define the rows in the big picture board module not as teams as intended, but as single users. And using the cadence planning feature, we define the capacity for each assignee in the program. It's possible to define the default capacity for all sprints or set different values for a specific sprint. And the users can see in real time during the planning if they're close or over their capacity and decide how to proceed accordingly. As you can see here, users with the red bar are over the defined capacity, and the green bar indicates how close they are to the defined limit. Now, with all those tasks and issues, users were struggling with logging work efficiently. We do enforce work log on transition to done status to make sure no task is completed without logging the invested effort. But this created a situation where users were simply logging all their work in bulk at the end of the sprint, just to get away with it. So after some research, we found out that users were simply looking for an easier way to log their work in a centralized UI. For that, we purchased the Tempo Timesheet app that provides the users with a simple timesheet screen where they can select the needed time range and log their work easily. This solution improved our burn-down charts tremendously because users finally got what they were looking for and they were happy. As they say, happy users keep happy admins. Now, let's talk briefly about migration. For that project, we decided to go with a less frequent method of migration, the overnight migration. Prior Atlassian era, projects were managed in SharePoint, Excel files, and even in Google Sheets. So we had to copy and consolidate all those sources into Jira. Here are the most important takeaways from this process. First, we started working on the migration process from the beginning. We completed many iterations in the test environment, adjusting and readjusting the data for import again and again. And then on D-Day, migration wasn't a problem, it just worked. We also conducted a very broad and structured training to all R&D members with several sessions, including hands-on labs. These sessions were recorded and now are part of the onboarding process for new R&D employees. And last is the management support. As I said before, the methodological change came together with the tools, and all managers at all levels support this change and work toward its success. This is a very important point because it simply eliminated the need to convince people to use the new tools. And instead, we were simply focused on getting the job done. And now for some future plans. For Jira, we're currently working on the defect implementation and migration from Quality Center to complete a full application lifecycle in Jira. Even today, we're still not at the server limit capacity, but we are starting to plan the transition to data center, both for Jira and Confluence. This requires full regression testing of all apps and customizations. And of course, continue enhancing and adapting Jira to support all R&D organization needs. For Confluence, we plan to create a process for automatic archiving of old and irrelevant content and to boost the search just a little bit more. For example, label specific content as high importance, so it would always appear at the top of the search results. Thank you.